And away we go. It is the nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar. Go visit our good friends at Hail Mary's. They're located in Cheviot. They're on Harrison Avenue. They're right in the Dora District. You can go from bar to bar with your drinks or just hang out at Hail Mary's. They've got 27 TVs, a 9-screen video wall. There's not a bad seat in the house. They subscribe to every sports package that DirecTV offers. You can stream all the games, and much like tomorrow night, if you can't make it to Fifth Third Arena, Cincinnati Sports will be on the 9-screen video wall as the Bearcats take on Kansas State. Brand new cooler, brand new draft lines, and not only do they pour the coldest Cincy light around, but they do so in 32.8 degree frosted glasses. So head down tomorrow night if you can't make it to Fifth Third Arena for Senior Day and watch the Bearcats close out the home portion of the 24-25 schedule. All right, Aaron, we had a little surprise Tuesday Wes Miller press conference this week ahead of Senior Day tomorrow. So we got a little talking before we talk about Kansas State. What you got for us?
Talk about nothing is what we got today. Coach Wes Miller discussed Senior Day. Got the 4 to 5 year guy far less often at this point in time, but it's good to celebrate the final game in the arena for the seniors that you do have. He then went on to say that he was not disappointed in play against Houston. He said that the 6 turnovers, if he wants to get nitpicky, he did point out the 6 turnovers between Seamoss and Dan Skillings, who both came off the bench, might I add, were negative, but they were aggressive turnovers, so they were still turnovers. Day-Day's foul trouble. Day-Day's foul trouble was frustrating, especially since he finished the game at plus 11. He did mention that. I feel like he said just enough to not get fined, but had he gone any further, he may have gotten fined.
Yeah.
I hope that he doesn't get fined for what he did say, because if that's the case, then I would have hoped that he would have just gone all the way off the rails. He said that if a guy has eligibility, last season he said if a guy has eligibility, he won't walk, and that has evolved as everything does. Said that Day-Day and Connor will not be walking as they still have eligibility left and they still have basketball in front of them. Did mention there's 4 guys walking. You have Aziz, Seamoss,
and the 2 CJs.
CJ and CJ,
yeah.
Anthony and CJ Frederick. Said that the transition from the American Conference to the Big 12 has been awesome, and Seamoss and Aziz have been crucial as they have competed at the Big 12 level since walking in the door. He was asked about his own senior night, asked if he cried at his senior night, says he can't remember. Okay, coach. And said he does remember speaking, though, at his senior night.
Yeah, North Carolina does that thing where, like, after the game, the seniors get the mic to address the crowd.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. Said that it probably is a weird thing, though, if you lose that game, right?
Right. It's a risk. It is an inherent risk.
Said that Kansas State is a very different team without Coleman Hawkins. They expect him to play. They are preparing for him to play. We'll see.
You know who does not expect him to play?
You.
Las Vegas.
No. Well, 9.5 is certainly a line.
Las Vegas does not expect him to play.
Said that David Ngesson runs the rim. He is a lob threat. He is a rim threat. He is a very good rebounder. Keep an eye on him tomorrow night. Said that CJ Anthony has not been easy to not play at times this season. He said that he brought him back to finish here, but also to have the eligibility to play somewhere else next season and make money via NIL or I guess revenue share and what have you.
Yeah.
He said he thinks as highly of him as anyone he's ever coached. Said that CJ Frederick is dealing with a back issue, and he is not sure at this point if he's going to be able to play tomorrow or at all the rest of the season. We'll see. Doug McDaniel was good last time that we played them, and he is one of a long list of great guards in this league. Not much to say about a guy who had a great night against Cincinnati in the conference opener. Said that everyone in this league is hard to prepare for, and they're all hard to prepare for different reasons. So the reasons that Kansas State is hard to prepare for are different than the reasons for Houston. Houston has all the problems to prepare for.
Right.
And then says that as they prepare, there is a process in place. It is process driven. They are not married to the process. They do deviate from the process at different times for different reasons, but they like to go back to the process. So I think the word process was mentioned about 84 times rapid fire in 16 seconds. That's all I got.
Yeah, it wasn't an overly informative midweek press conference.
He was in a far better mood than he was in the press conference leading up to Houston.
Yeah. He just didn't say a whole lot. I tried to get a couple things out of him, but he wasn't really all that interested.
A lot of
yeah. Tomorrow's like I love senior day and hate senior day.
Well,
it's tough because you get to know these guys pretty well, and it's their last game. It's different because there's not any of those 4 or 5 year guys that are saying their goodbyes tomorrow, but still think very highly of Aziz, think very highly of CMOS. I've known CJ for a long time, being a Cincinnati / Northern Kentucky guy playing at Covcath. I've got a great relationship with him, great relationship. There was a while, it never materialized, and maybe it'll materialize down the road. We were in talks with CJ Anthony to try to do a podcast while he was on the team. The logistics of that never really got off the ground. And I think as I talked to him more about, like, watch some of the shows, like, understand, like, what it's going to be if you're going to do an in-season player podcast. And I think that he kind of thought about it, was like, I don't know. You're right. That might not be the best idea.
Admin would have been freaking out every week.
Yeah. So I've got great relationships with all these guys. Wish them nothing but the best after their careers at UC. But senior day is very cool. I've been on the floor for SK and Gary and Troy. A lot of guys that put a lot of blood, sweat. Deontay Vaughn. They put a lot of Yancey blood, sweat, and tears into this program to see them get their moment on senior day. So it's always had and I went to senior day with my dad a couple times, like throughout my childhood and early adulthood. I think we went for Max, Jason Maxiel. My dad was a huge Jason Maxiel guy for obvious reasons. Like he would rip your arm off and beat you with it if he could. Yeah, Jason Maxiel eats babies. So it's always a special day. Hate to see these guys go, but that's the nature. At least that's the nature for now of college sports, because here soon they might be able to play 6, 7, 8 years. Like you just stick around in college, get a master's, get a
doctorate.
Get a doctorate. Yeah, get a doctorate while you're here. Keep making money. Kansas State, a lot of who they are comes down to whether Coleman Hawkins plays or not. And not that he kind of impacts the game a lot like Demon from BYU in terms of plays with the ball in his hand a lot, high-level passer, high-level assist guy, really good defender. He's good on the glass, steals, block shots. The Cincinnati game would say otherwise, but not a volume scorer, but does a little bit of everything. So if they lose him, they're one of a perfect example, Aaron. They're one of the best assist teams in the country. But if you take his 4.5 assists out, the only guy that's a really good passer on that team other than him is McDaniel. So then things become a little bit tougher for McDaniel because Hawkins isn't there to kind of share the load of making their offense work. Not great on offense, 96th in offensive efficiency, 50th in defensive efficiency. They are a team that, they lost what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They lost 6 in a row. They won 6 in a row. Then they lost 4 in a row. And then they beat Colorado Sunday. And then they've got Cincinnati and Iowa State to close out the season for Kansas State. It's a game look, have to win this game.
You had to win the first game, truthfully, but I digress. They lost to Utah by 5 all the way back on February 17th. That was the last game that Coleman Hawkins played in. Since then, they lost to Arizona State 66-54. They lost to UCF 80-76. So they've kept it relatively close. And then they beat Colorado 65-56 on Sunday. So the scores have been relatively close. They stay in games. They haven't just thrown in the towel, as we've joked about. Coleman Hawkins, I think, may have thrown in the towel. We'll see.
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
But I guess we'll find out if he plays tomorrow or not. Coach said he is expecting him to play. They're preparing for him to play. Vegas is not, according to the 9.5-point spread. So if you're a gambling person, that might be a spread to hop on, especially if he does play.
They're 2-7 in conference away from home. So, and their two road wins were Iowa State, which is a big one. They blasted Iowa State, and then they won at Arizona State. But they've lost at TCU, they've lost at Oklahoma State, they've lost at Kansas, at Baylor, at BYU, at Utah, and at UCF.
The Iowa State game was a game where they didn't have Momcilovic as well. So
correct, yeah. That's the best they played all season. Not even close. They blasted Iowa State. They were in control of that one from the jump.
During that 6-game win streak, though, they played outside of their mind. We talked about them being maybe the best team in conference during that time spread. And then
their metrics in that 6-game stretch, they were the number 1 team in the country. And
they've played some really shitty ball as well. So I don't know what version of Kansas State we're going to get, but you're at home. It is senior night. Your back is literally against the wall. It could not be harder against the wall. You are pinned against the locker, and the bully is beating you in the face. He's not threatening to beat you. He is beating you in the face. You have to respond. If you have any fight left in you at all, you have to respond.
Yeah. How about this? BYU hasn't lost.
That shows
tomorrow. But this game is ongoing, so we can mention it because it's not final yet. BYU has not lost since they played the game at Cincinnati, where they said the Bearcats kind of handled them pretty easily. They won 6 in a row, and with 12 and a half minutes left, they are up 54-35 on Iowa State, at Iowa State in Ames.
Killing them.
They're playing the second best ball in the Big 12 right now behind Houston. They are playing outstanding. We'll get to that tomorrow. But
Trevenel isn't garbage.
We'll get to that Thursday, actually. We're probably not going to get to that tomorrow.
Probably not. There's a lot going on tomorrow.
Yeah. But, yeah, this is a game you have to win. This is a game you should win. Kansas State is playing without its $2 million player. Cincinnati should have better talent. David Gasson, that's how his name is actually. The N is silent. Why is
guessing?
David Gasson has been their best player. They play pretty much an entirely different style without Hawkins. With Hawkins, they play him and Gasson together. They play a lot of 5 out and spread the floor. With Hawkins out, they have played a lot of Ugana Onyeso. And he played 28 minutes against Colorado in their win on Sunday. He is not an offensive threat. He does block shots, set screens, kind of a guy that plays a similar role when he's in the game that Aziz plays for UC. So that'll be interesting to see what kind of stuff they can do on Gassan with somebody that's really not an offensive threat at the 5 next to him.
He had 6 rebounds, 3 offensive, 3 defensive, and 3 blocks. Not a bad day.
No, he's solid. He's just not gonna score a whole lot typically. The thing with Gassan is it's kind of hit or miss. Like he's in the last 4 games, 5 games, he's either scored 20 or he hasn't broken 10. So he scored 20 in the last one. Mm-hmm. You need to keep him under 10 or keep him in a check. And then Doug McDaniel had 17 in that first game. I think that took Cincinnati by surprise a little bit because he hadn't started up to that point. And then they had the long layoff leading up to the opener of conference play, and they inserted McDaniel into the starting lineup. There's going to be more of how they use him on the scouting report this time around. So it'll be critical, Aaron. Ultimately, right now, you know what winning and losing comes down to?
Do tell.
Keep Day-Day and Jizzle out of foul trouble. When those 2 guys are on the floor, this team has been really good over the past month when they're on the floor together. When only one of them is on the floor, not nearly as effective. So keep those 2 guys out of foul trouble. Keep Kansas State off the free throw line. And I think Cincinnati gets off of senior day with a win and heads to Stillwater with their NCAA hopes still intact.
There's your 3 keys.
3 keys. All right, that's going to wrap it up. That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, live from the Cincy Light Studios right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!
Go Butler.